children, the earliest human settlement on the soil of our city Belgrade came into existence in the 5th millennium BC. Archaeological excavations brought to the light of day settlements and necropolises dating from later prehistoric times as well. What our earliest ancestors have left us, be they objects for everyday use or works of art, testify to their exceptionally high cultural standard. As far as we know, Belgrade was first known as Singidunum. It was given this name by the Celts, and it retained it under the Romans, who reached the banks of the rivers Sava and Danube in the 1st century BC, and converted today's fort, that's all Belgrade was at the time, into a military stronghold. At the time of the Crusades, Belgrade was already an economically well-developed town, which in the Middle Ages became the capital of the Serbian state. It enjoyed a rapid growth in those days and had a population of a little over 50,000. The Slavs settled in these parts in the 7th century, and today's Slavic name, Belgrade, or White City, was first mentioned in records in the 9th century. Alas, very little of the one-time city has survived the many wars and large-scale destruction to which it has been exposed throughout its history. In 1521, Belgrade was occupied by the Ottoman Turks. They remained in Belgrade until 1867, a full 3.5 centuries. And during that time, Belgrade assumed all the features typical of an Oriental town and achieved great prosperity. A well-known traveller of the period, Evliya Çelebi, compared it to Constantinople and Baghdad, for it then had a population of over 90,000. At that time, it began to expand beyond the walls of the fortress. During the 18th century, Belgrade was alternately under Turkish and Austrian rule. The Austrians reconstructed the Belgrade fortress, and the appearance it then acquired has on the whole remained unchanged. At the time of the Serbian uprisings from 1804 to 1830, Belgrade was liberated from and recaptured by the Turks. After 1830, the Turks withdrew within the walls of the fortress, while the town was handed over to the Serbs to administer as the capital of the Principality of Serbia. In 1867, the Turks abandoned the fortress as well, and Belgrade finally became a free city again. As the capital of a principality, Belgrade developed into an economic and cultural center. A state-owned printing press, a post office, and the first pharmacy were opened. The town acquired its first professional theater company, a museum, and a library. The Lyceum became a college, which was later to become the university. Electricity and electric trams were introduced, a railway station was built, but then came the First World War, and Belgrade was once again under foreign occupation and ravaged. After the war, Belgrade became the capital of the first common state of the South Slavs, the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, which later changed its name to the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. As new buildings were erected, and as its streets were widened and squares and intersections laid out, Belgrade took on the appearance of a modern city. But then, alas, came another world war, and our city once again suffered extensive destruction. In its long and eventful history, Belgrade last regained its freedom on October the 20th, 1944. Since then, it has been growing into a modern city with a population of well over 1 million, the capital of the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. And you are growing with it.